This is a short demo of the Pathway4Teams application, which works for Gaelic Games and Soccer teams at all levels. When you log in, you'll see a screen like this one with the logo at the top. You'll see a list of the panels that the management user has been set up for, and you'll also see a list of games that have been set up on the system. If we click into any of the panels, you'll see a list of players that have been set up. If you want to add additional players, you can do that via the submenu by adding a panel member. You can also add a game to the system by choosing Add Game. You choose the competition type, whether it's home or away, the date and time, etc. And that will then allow you to set up the game once you choose your opposition. The opposition can be chosen either from a pull-down menu, and if the club that you're looking to play the game against exists, then you select from the pull-down menu. If they're not already a club that's set up on the system, you can simply enter a name and it will automatically set up that club for you in the database. So once the game is set up, it will appear on the dashboard. If you want to then log stats for a game, your starting position is always the default black with the unassigned player names. To choose a player for a particular position, you simply click and hold on the player. You choose the player name for that position, and then their name appears under the icon. Once the game is in progress, you can click and hold on the player to remove them, swap them with another player, so you can swap positions on the field, or you can also swap them with substitutes if you have any substitutes available. To log the stats, it's important to note that every single stat or game action is tagged against an individual player. So to log a stat, you click on the player and then you'll choose from either a positive game action in green or a negative in red. And throughout the game, there will be a continuous toggle between the game screen where you select the player and the stats button screen where you select either a positive stat or a negative stat. You'll also see the score changing at the top of the screen, and you continue to do that right throughout the game. Once the game commences, and from the very first moment of the throw-in, you can start to log and view the actions report live. So by clicking on the actions report, you'll see the actions as they're being logged by the stats team. So at the first table here is the team totals, and then you have a breakdown of every individual player's contribution to those totals. There is also a subset of those actions that are time-stamped. So those actions are ones that would be considered to be game-changing, like a sending off, a score, a substitution, etc. So they're time-stamped, so you can actually then see what minute of the game those particular game-changing actions actually happened. There's also a series of charts that are available that you can look at, and these are typically win-loss type charts where green is positive and red is negative. So you can see here that the KPIs that are chosen. So we got our own kick out and the opposition kick out, turnovers 1 lost, breaking ball 1 lost, and frees 1 lost. So if I go back in for a moment and I look at opposition kick out, so that's currently showing as having lost 2. So if I go back in here and I choose the opposition kick out, we've won, and I go back to the game charts, you can now see that that's showing 1 there in the green, and we've lost 2 in the red. So right throughout the game, you'll be able to see for each of those 5 KPIs a high-level snapshot of how the game is progressing, and that's important sometimes to be able to get a simple visual along with the tabular data that I just showed you in the other screen. When the game is over, you simply click on the tick box there to say that the game is to be marked as complete, and then the game will be removed from the dashboard, but you can still access the data from the game if you click on previous games, and you can see the completed action report, which will be in the same tabular format where the team totals are at the top, split by red or green, positive or negative actions, and the totals. And then you can see the breakdown of each individual player contribution to those stats totals. So you'll be able to really identify who is contributing to the overall team performance. You also have the ability, by just clicking on the email button here, to send yourself the Excel version of the data. So you can see the red confirmation message that appeared at the bottom of the screen. That will send an email with an attachment in Excel of the data that we just looked at in the report on the previous screen. There's one other useful feature that might work for underage teams equally as well as adult teams, and that is if you want to log the skill level of a player, you can go into the player record, select skills, and you can see there's a variety of skills that are then rated for that player from 1 to 10. You can change the rating right throughout the season based on what you're seeing in training and matches, and then you save the overall skill rating for that player. You can see the average is at the top there. Once you save it, you can then go back out to the panel level, and you can actually run a skills report on the overall panel, which will give you an indication as to the overall skill level across the entire panel, and also the individual player breakdown against the panel average. So for each skill, you can identify what the individual player rating is and how that rating compares with the panel average. Is it above? Is it below? Is it on a par with the average? That can sometimes help identify weaknesses that might be across the entire panel, but also it'll allow you to have one-to-one conversations with individual players about the specific areas that they need to focus on in their own game. So that's a very high-level summary of the Pathway4Teams application. If you'd like to have more information, please go to www.pathway4teams.com. That's pathway with the number 4 teams.com.